Oil prices surged nearly 20% this week. The Nikkei saw heavy selling and global tensions are escalating. If you are a foreigner living in Japan, these market movements could soon affect the yen, inflation, and even the cost of daily life. Let's break down what moved global market this week. Okay guys, let's start with Tokyo Stock Exchange as normal way. Nikkei 225 started the week around 58,450, but sharp selling pressure pushed the index down to a weekly low of 53,700 range. By Friday, Nikkei closed nearly around 55,600 range. So it reflected growing investors' anxiety about geopolitical risks and rising energy cost. So if you see average, Nikkei is in the range of 53,000 to 55,500 until Friday. So due to Middle East tension, what will be the more volatile? You have any guess? Yes, it will be oil. Higher oil prices can hurt major importing countries like Japan. So you may think a war at other country, how will impact me? So let's break it down in very simple way. When oil prices increases, inflation will be on pressure because daily need products price may increase due to the oil price and it will slow down the economic growth in parallel. So now you can correlate how a global war would impact an individual daily life. You got my point? Let's directly touch upon oil prices. The biggest market story of this week was the dramatic oil surge. Crude oil nearly it was $74 but surged until $94. It was closing around 93. So this nearly 20% spike was triggered by fears that Strait of Hormuz could become impassable. Do you know why this Hormuz passage route becomes global talk? Any guess? Because roughly 1/5 of the overall global oil supply passes through this narrow channel. So any disruption will directly a shock wave for oil companies who import from Middle East. So now can you correlate my previous point? Yes, that how a global war can impact an individual. Okay, then let's see our own commodity starting with gold and silver. Precious metal like gold and silver experienced a significant volatility this week. Starting with gold, it was nearly $5,265 per ounce. Then it climbed to 5,400 range, but eventually it also fell back to nearly 5,144 at the weekend. Coming to silver, it showed even stronger swing, moving from 94 to 97 and closing around $85. This movement actually reflects uncertainty among investors. So while geopolitical tensions usually support precious metal like gold and silver, however, this time it is reverse. So what can we do such a situation? We have to wait and watch. Let's see the currency market, Japanese yen, especially for foreigners in Japan. The Japanese yen also saw notable movement this week. The US dollar against Japanese yen opened nearly 156 and touched until 158 and closing around 157.5 at Friday evening. Despite global tensions, the yen failed to strengthen because significantly as investors moved towards US dollar instead yen. Finally, what notes for foreigners living in Japan? Foreign residents and investors in Japan should pay special attention to the recent movement in the yen and the energy prices. Why? Japan relies heavily on imported oil and energy. So if oil prices continue rising due to this tension, it could increase inflation and living cost across the country. So especially for foreigners earning in yen and sending money to abroad. So the movement of US dollar against Japanese yen exchange rate can also significantly impact the value of remittance. So a weaker yen means sending money overseas become more expensive, while a stronger yen increases the value of transfer. So what we have to do right now, watching both energy prices and then yen exchange rate will be more important for foreigner living and working and investing in Japan in coming weeks. In short, global market will remain extremely sensitive to geopolitical development, especially oil prices, inflation expectation, and diplomatic headlines will likely dominate the market sentiment in upcoming week. So as investors should get prepared for continued volatility among commodities, currencies and equity markets. So for latest up-to-date information on Tokyo Stock Exchange, Japanese yen, Middle East tension, stay tuned with our channel. Thank you.